Well, hello there. Welcome to the masterclass for human design for your mom coaching biz. Welcome. We're going to get started. We're at the top of the hour, and they don't call me a chatty Kathy for nothing. So I have some slides to keep me on track. And I'll save some time at the end if there are any questions. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the slides. And I really hope you all hear me okay. Trust that you do. Okay, so I am assuming you could see my slides here, and we're going to start this. Not at the very end. I'll start this at the very beginning. How's that for an idea? Okay, here we go. Presenting mode. Welcome to Human Design and Your Mom Coaching Biz, the masterclass. And what we're going to cover today, you've probably been hearing a lot about human design. Obviously, if you're checking this out, you're intrigued or already have an interest in it. But if you don't know what all the fuss is about, you're going to find out. I'm going to go over the basics and how it ties in with not only making your business so much more easeful and fun, but the rest of your life too. And I am going to let you know how getting more acquainted with your blueprint can help you make faster, better decisions, more sound decisions. It will have you honoring your energy so that you're staying productive in a productive way, and how it can help you be aware of your gifts and give you clues as to what your life purpose is in a really cool way. And there are two main areas of human design that are really just the basic ones to focus on, because I'm going to show you what a chart look like, and it might bring up feelings of like, whoa, it's like when my husband shows me a pie chart to look at our grocery spending. It's just like glassy eye. I'm going to show you just the two main areas to focus on when you're just like, I don't know what to do, which is the exact wording I use 10 minutes before each kid was born. It's that moment of like, just tell me what to do. And that is great because it means you're on the cusp of something big. And this is what human design sets you up for, making your life and your business something big in a way that's very unique for you and your internal story. So I'm Kathy Stoll. In case you don't know me, I am a business coach for mom coaches. And ever since I began coaching moms 10 years ago, I have always kept my feelers out for what I deemed would be really helpful for my clients. So again, I started off coaching moms to what I call Mama Bliss, which is basically that peace, calm, and that solace within you that you can trust, because it's always going to guide you towards your next baby step. I call them baby bliss steps. And so I've taken coaching training to really hold moms in this capacity. So that's why I began as a simplicity parenting coach, because I saw that implementing simplicity principles in our home, that not only were my kids more adorable and chilly chill, I was more adorable and chilly chill, and I had more freedom and more room in our schedule to take care of what gets me excited. So beyond that, I became a creativity coach because I noticed too, creative play was so important for me to replenish my energy, to see me have a perspective on the world and my place in it, and also exercise my problem solving skills. So that's why when I discovered human design, I was like, oh my God, I really want to dive into this deeper. So again, I could pass this on to my clients, all just to add on to the tools I already use to get them reaching their goals, which is typically creating a mom coaching business from home that makes them a full-time income, but not working crazy full-time hours. So that's when I discovered this, I decided I'm going to become an expert, and I am fresh out of a 6-month certification program. And now I offer my one-on-one clients, human design readings. We lean on it throughout our whole relationship, but now I'm also offering one-offs. So speaking of that, I said in the email, you guys have to attend to get this crazy sweet bonus. And so I want to mention it now because transparency, a lot of people are going to be watching the replay of this. They're going to be sent to this page. Hello, everyone. And if you look down below, there's a button to book your human design reading with me. It's $300 for 90 minutes. But if you use this discount code Masterclassy, then you get $100 off. Just be mindful though, it's only available until this Saturday, like the replay, 6:00 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9:00 Eastern. So if you want to take me up on this deal, you better act fast. And also, the replay is coming down too at the same time, 48 hours. Okay. So what is human design? Before I go, I'm just going to do a quick little check-in, making sure that the screen share is tickety-boo. I think we're all good. All right. And if you have any questions, you guys, just some housekeeping, there's a chat box available. You can type them in and I will answer them as they come. All right. Okay, guys, sorry, just making sure everything's all good here. Looks good. Okay. So in case you don't know what human design is, basically it's a combination of astrology, the Kabbalah, your chakras, and quantum physics. Quantum physics really intrigues me because it has the word physics in it, and I'm married to a guy who's fascinated by physics. And when I really started getting into the concept of manifesting, I did some reading up on it because, again, simplicity has always been the foundation of my coaching biz since, I began coaching moms. And when I was diving deep into concepts of simplicity, I discovered the physics behind, how energy is, it takes up space and it is infinite. And it brought me to this concept of, if you want to manifest something, you need to make room in your life. So that's why when I work together with my clients, it's all about removing the clutter. And I read this book by Denise Dunfield Thomas. It's called Get Rich Lucky Bitch. And that's what she begins with, is decluttering so you can make space for something new in your life. So this is what really turns me on about not only human design, but the concept of quantum physics as well, because it's also all about being intentional about what you want to be manifesting in your own life. And the science behind it is that if you plant the seed in your mind, then subconsciously you're going to be guided to what the next steps are to get you to where you want to be. So this is all about really discarding the layers, and it brings you back to your own inner knowing, which is basically like coaching, right? As coaches, we're holding space for our clients to be birthing forward their dream lives, their goals, whatever they decide. We're there to hold the space to coach them through a struggle so that they can get to specific point B. And it's all about just holding that space for them to talk it out, asking them questions. And I always use the concept, the metaphor of being the midwife. We're just there to hold the space. And when the client starts wailing, like I did with both births, I don't know what to do. It's like, what do you feel like doing right now? And this is what human design offers. It gives you ideas of how to tap into this when you're feeling overwhelmed, not knowing where to begin first. So I love this as a tool to offer to you all. Okay, so I offer too a link to my body graph. And when you plug in your time of birth and where you were born, exact time if you can. And again, I think I shared this in my podcast, maybe. If you don't know the exact time, like I didn't know for 51 years. I ended up having to write a letter to the hospital because my mom was like, I don't know when you were born. So if you don't know, like if you're adopted or your parents aren't available with that information, then you can just simply either write a letter to the hospital or plug in midnight and make another chart of noon. And then you can read into what it says, and then you get to decide what makes more sense for you. But what you're going to find when you do put in that information at mybodygraph.com, this is what's going to come up. And this again might be a little like, whoa, that's a lot to take in. So I'm just going to quickly show you what all this stuff means. And then I'm going to show you what we're going to really focus on today in relation to your coaching biz. So all of this we get into when we work one-on-one, or if you take me up on a reading, we go through all this. And basically, what you see here, all these shapes, those are your energy centers. So when they're colored in, that means they're defined in your blueprint. And where they're not colored in, they're undefined. So that simply means that you create your own energy in this area. Or if you're undefined, you're a little bit more susceptible to the energy of those around you in that area. And then here we have the lines. So you'll notice that black and red lines are existing. The black line kind of stems from this area, which is really cool. This symbolizes where all the planets and stars were aligned at the moment of your birth. And that signifies your conscious energy. So this is what you're aware of about yourself. And same thing with these lines here. This is what you're aware of, whereas this is the trippy part. The red lines and red areas, this is all about your unconscious, what other people see in you that you're maybe not super aware of. And the cool thing is, this is where the stars, all these little symbols symbolize the stars and planets were at the moment that your soul dropped into your body. And the concept there is that happens 6 months in utero. You get this download of your soul. And this is where all that happened. So that kind of blew my mind when I learned about that concept. Your profile. So I wrote here your personality in the play. So all that here we're going to get into today, your energy type. If you can imagine, this is great timing because my son, they're doing a Shakespeare play next Thursday, and I volunteered to sew a whole whack of costumes. So Shakespeare times and plays are very fresh in my noggin right now. But if you can imagine, if your life was a play, your energy type, in this example, this generator, that is your role in the play. And then here, your profile, that's kind of the persona your role takes on. So I saw this as a great example. So if you can imagine in this play, they have this, let's say the king, right? That is your role, your type generator, but your profile infuses it with, are you a benevolent king or malevolent, a bad guy, right? Not saying that your profile is either good or bad, but this just gives you some more perspective on what your personality traits are. And it also dictates your karma. And what that means, if you see here, this person is a 6/2. If the number before is bigger than the second number, that means your karma is personal. So this just says that you really impact the world by putting your own needs first. That's how you make an impact. If it's, oh my goodness, I think I'm getting this backwards. Actually, reverse that, because I'm a 5/1. So that means I have a transpersonal karma. I'm making an impact on the world by helping others. So flip that around. And if it was smaller first, and you got a personal karma. All right. So these are my dogs. You got two main areas to focus on, basically. Your energy type, like I just explained in that example, said generator, and your authority. And these two handsome men just symbolize, we're just going to focus on two areas now so as not to overwhelm you. So that's why when I do a reading or when I'm working with a client, it's like, take it all in, but just let it sink in. The clarity will come as you start implementing your energy type and your strategy within your type, and then moving forward with your authority. And then everything else, the gates and channels, will make sense later on. So when you look at your chart, you want to look here at your type. Again, for this person, it's generator. And here is where you can find out your authority is sacral. So put a pin on that to begin with, because we're going to go through quickly all 5 of the types. And I'm also going to share with you what your strategy is in terms of how you interact with the world, something to keep in mind. And also here where it says not self-theme, this is that indicator light in your engine of life. When you start feeling, for example, in this here, frustration, that's a sign that you're not living according to your strategy for here to respond. And when you know when you're living in alignment with your human design, you get this signature feeling. And for me, I'm a generator here. It's not my chart, but I am also a generator with a sacral authority. Then you feel a sense of satisfaction for generators. Just an example. Okay, so number 1, if you notice, you're a manifester. Looking at your chart, I just want you to know that you were designed to be spontaneous. Apparently, manifestors back in time were the rulers. So they had a style of showing up that they didn't really need to check in with anyone. So you really show up best if you're spontaneous and in the moment. And you have a very big aura. People really pick up on that, and which is a great thing. But like my mama always says, I'm not a manifester, but I think I do have aspects of it. You're not going to be everyone's cup of tea, because you do have this like being in the moment, which is awesome. But of course, like everything else, it could rub some people the wrong way, which is okay, right? So you want to be mindful that you have quick bursts of energy, you get tons done, but it's really important that you follow that up with lots of rest. So your strategy is to inform. And what that means, again, just being in that rock star style of, royalty, you just want to let people know around you what you're up to. Just try to remember to inform the people who are going to be impacted by your decisions that this is where I'm going. This is how I'm moving forward. Your signature feeling is a sense of peace. It's like, right? So when I mention the signature feeling, you're going to be like, well, what's the difference between peace and satisfaction? So this is something to chew on. And then all of these little nuggets from the universe are going to be like offering some really cool hints. For instance, your not self theme is anger. I am a generator and my not self theme is frustration. And then I was all like, what's the difference between anger and frustration? So I was paying attention to that. And then funny enough, I'm actually currently listening. I'm going through this, like I make a joke. I go for walks with my boyfriends. But what I'm really doing is I'm listening to Audible memoirs. So I was listening to Will Smith's memoir, Pre-Slap. And then I was going for walks with Matthew McConaughey with his memoir. And now I'm walking with David Grohl, the lead singer of Foo Fighters. And he told a story just when I was listening recently about his daughter. And he said to his daughter, he's like, you're feeling really angry right now. I can tell. And she's like, I'm not angry, I'm frustrated. So he was just talking about the difference between frustrated and anger, which I thought was kind of cool, because I was just kind of, mulling that over. What is the difference? So all of these, just like everything else that you're going to pick up on your reading, is just to take it, not with a grain of salt, but just to sit with it. And it's actually quite subjective. What does it mean to you? Explore it with curiosity and start implementing it in different ways or noticing in different ways. Okay. So for the manifestors out there in your coaching business, I want you to know your strength is that you can see the big picture. You got big picture thinking, just like the queen that you are. You're sitting there in your throne. You can see the peasants in front of you. And you had this ability to make things happen, right? So this is a strength of yours. So you want to consider that. So this is me, generator. We make a huge chunk. I actually attract a lot of generators in my coaching biz. So I know this type inside out. I'm just going to take a sip of water. Mm-hmm. And for those of you who are here, you're more than welcome to put in the chat what your type is, and I'll check that out in a second. But for those generators like me, we are go, go, go types, much to our detriment at times because we tend to also be people pleasers. So you want to check in with that. And luckily we have a built-in mechanism to make sure we don't overdo it. And this has been the hugest permission slip for me is we're not meant to make decisions logically. We're all about the gut instinct. And it was such a wow. I needed to hear that. Because again, I married an engineer and he thinks I should be more logical. And I was like, oh, maybe I should be, but nope. I need to go with my gut. And it hasn't steered me wrong yet. So us as generators, our strategy is to respond. So the person who came up with human design, Rue, what's his name? Rue. Let's just call him Rue. I want to find his name now here. I have it written down. Anyways, let's call him Ruru for now. He's guy who came, Ruru. He actually wrote the best thing to be is a generator just because our strategy is so easy. We simply to respond to what the world presents us with. So we check in again with our gut reaction to our authority, which we're going to get into next. Our signature again is a feeling of satisfaction. And the flip side is the frustration piece, not anger. Dialing in to how am I feeling frustrated here? Check in with that. That's the indicator light of like, we need to get more into for us, leaning on not over exerting our energy with people pleasing and go with like busy work to actually take a moment, check in and making sure that our heart's really into it. So in business, we want to make sure that we are passionate about what we're doing. This is all about taking the shoulds off your plate, which is so liberating. Manifesting generator. My son is this one. This is fun. So they are multi-passionate and they show others what's possible. They master things really quickly. And this is totally my son. He just takes things up. And being a 13-year-old boy, it's all physical stuff. He just like picks it up like that. You can skip steps. So manifesting generators, my clients, I'm like, you can skip it. They pick things up so quickly. And again, they're so magnetic with that energy of theirs. They got that little magic touch and they're just simply natural born rebels. Their strategy too, like generators, is to respond, same signature, things are aligned. They are feeling satisfied. And again, me mulling over what is that sense of satisfaction. For some reason, it comes up with brushing my teeth. Like brushing my teeth. I'm like, at the end of the day, do I feel satisfied? Checking in with that. And again, noticing when you feel frustrated, what needs to change here. For manifesting generators, you guys are meant to break the rules and lead the way. So you guys are very fun to coach because I'm always like, but you're a manifesting generator, so you don't have to do it that way. Like, what do you feel like doing? So very liberating. And this is my daughter, projectors. I know a lot of projectors too. I love you guys. So my daughter's name is Edie. And her nickname, you guys probably do this too. She has like, both my kids have like 10 different nicknames each. Edie, her nickname is Dee Dee. And it's morphed into Dee Dee Bird. So both my husband and I call her Dee Dee Bird a lot. So when I learned that she's a projector and projectors are like the bird in the tree, they can see the path forward and they can like really take in the temperature of society, of those around them, and can make sense of it all. I was just like, oh my God, Dee Dee Bird, she's my bird in the tree. These are wise souls. It's like they live many, many lifetimes. They're very knowledgeable. They love to learn and they love to systemize things. They love to make sense of all the chaos around them. And oh my God. So a 17-year-old daughter, I can't stop talking about human design with her. Luckily, a lot of her friends' moms are into it too. So it's like, okay, there's some street cred there. But I told her, as a projector, Edie, it's really important that you only work 2 to 4 hours a day, not meaning that you got to find a part-time job for the rest of your life, but making sure that you can design into your days a big chunk of time where you just work by yourself. You need to be alone to really recharge your battery. And this makes sense. Forever, I walk by her room and she's just flopped over in bed a lot. At first I was worried. I'm like, oh my God, is she depressed? It's like, no, she is just not conditioned yet. And this is all about, we're going to talk about later. Human design is how you're meant to show up before all the layers of conditioning, from either parenting, parents or society of like, oh my God, you should like, snap out of it, do it this way. She's honoring how she's meant to show up. At least I like to tell myself. I told her, keep that practice, recharge. It's very important for your energy type. Your strategy is wait for the invitation. So this one could be a little persnickety because people could take this one a little too literally. It's not like don't do anything until someone invites you, especially when it comes to your business, because nothing's going to happen in your coaching business if you're just sitting there waiting for people. So I need to pep talk my projector clients that people opting in for your email list, for example, that is an invitation to hear from you. People checking out your masterclass, that's an invitation that they want to hear from you. So this is just important because you're so knowledgeable, it can come across as being a little bit of a know-it-all. Okay. So that's the only kind of strategy, is wait for that invitation to hear your advice, but you can interpret that how you will. Your signature feeling is success. The not self theme, it's bitterness. You feel like you know so much and you have so much to offer. So checking in when you're feeling that you're not appreciated, and go back to that strategy of waiting for the invitation, or maybe reviewing what that actually means for you. In your coaching biz, you're meant to break the rules. I did a little bit of an oopsie daisy here. So in your coaching business, that was a cut and paste. Whoopsies. So for projectors, you're just simply meant to, because your energy centers are undefined, you can really take in. You have a lot of empathy. So making sure that you are checking in with, making sure that you are recharging a lot, and then you're moving forward, trusting that people have invited you in. All right, reflectors. Speaking of undefined, you have no defined energy centers. You are super rare. I have yet to coach a reflector. Like you only make up, I think it's like 1% of the population. Let me just see here. I love getting, yeah, you're like 1%. Number one. Thus, I haven't met one in the flesh yet. So because all your centers are open, you pick up on the feelings and energy of those around you. That is why you would make an awesome coach, super empath, or if you are a writer, if you are an actor, right? So you use the energy of others to get things done. Your strategy here, it says here, wait for a lunar cycle. So this one too is another area you need to be careful. You don't take it too literally. But that means when you're making decisions, maybe you might have to hang tight for 28 days. And that is not written in stone. It's just hold space for that to be a possibility. the answer can bubble up to the surface sooner than that. It could be an hour, but it can also be 28 day. Signature theme, surprise. And your not self theme is disappointment. And this can come as a really heavy energy. Okay. So just allowing yourself, if you're stuck in the disappointment, that heavy, almost depression, is to implement the strategy to what the world presents you with. Just like really reflect on it as a reflector for a whole lunar cycle, hold space for it, and just paying attention and waiting for the feeling of surprise to come. So in your coaching biz, when you're making decisions, just make sure that you have that space to decide what it is you really truly want to offer and get really grounded when you're making these decisions. Okay, so you just need to know your energy type. This is the basics, and lean on your authority. So I showed you in your chart where to see your authority. If it says emotional, this means you feel everything. And your strategy here, and this is your authority, is where you start making your decisions, is that you want to wait for that roller coaster of feelings to come to a neutral place before you make decisions in your business. Your sacral, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm practicing. You want to go with what lights you up. And all of your authorities, you guys, it's like a muscle you need to practice. And so this has been fun for me practicing this. It's coming quicker and quicker, and I'm feeling less and less apologetic. Like I shared the story, I think, on my podcast. Easter Monday, the family went for a hike, and my sacral was going, nope. 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 It's saying no. I wish I could, but the sacral's saying no. And it ended up being like, I caught an invitation for a phone call. It just felt like, oh, okay, that made sense. So yes, go with your sacral, very kind of primal, like a cave woman, or just start practicing with that. And us with sacral authority, see if you can get those decisions that you're presented with kind of reframe to a yes or no, or a this or that, even with like the most minute decisions in your life. The next one is splenic, and that is all about intuition. So follow your intuition, that little whispers in your ear that come out of nowhere, and just trust it. Again, you hear over and over again. You want to build your intuition. This too is like a muscle. The more you trust it, the more clear that whisper becomes. Ego. So this one is actually a rare authority, but if you have that, yay you, because you get to be selfish. You get to, like, just like your karmic personal karma, you are serving others by being selfish. So no apologies. This is for the greater good. I'm going with what serves me. G center. This is my daughter. And I told her this actually just yesterday. I was like, you need to bounce ideas off others. Clarity comes when you speak out. So my private clients, they get access to me with Voxer, and I tell my G center authorities, just leave me a voice message and just talk it out. And often that's just that exercise. I'll respond, but I'm sure you're going to get clarity. And sure enough, a lot of it comes in that way. And then we have the mental authority. This is also known as none. So depending on the graph you decide to opt in, there's a whole bunch out there. I use my body graph to get your human design type. Just know that if it says none or mental, that means you are designed to just process energy and decisions in real time. Okay, so you guys know, now we're going to tie this in with your coaching biz a little bit more strategically, or how I see, the parallels. So, I'm all about the 4x1 plan. And I came up with this concept for my sheer love of simplicity, and the whole shtick I shared about simplicity was before I knew that human design existed, was that introduction to how I am meant to be, that nice, quiet, internal center that trusts that there is a method to my internal madness that is my signature theme of satisfaction. I found satisfaction through simplicity. So if you think about it, your one niche statement. So when I work with my clients privately, we begin now with the human design reading. It takes a whole hour for my private clients, and then we just have that awareness. And part of your chart also hints at what your life purpose is, right? When we look at your incarnation cross. So this helps you make that decision. It's often just a matter of using that combination of little bit of logic. We begin, I also have this process called the BHG. The B is for brain. Let's use logic to see what you like literally bring to the table. If we look at your resume, your life resume, but then we move into your heart, and then we can look at your graph to see what aligns with what makes sense, quote unquote, for you to home in on a niche that's going to be a sweet combination of lucrative, but also serving your bigger purpose. So that's how human design can help us narrow it down to that decision. And of course, leaning on your authority to come with a decision that is sound. Your one signature offer. Something else we look at when we do your reading or work one-on-one, we're constantly checking in with your gates and channels. So this lets us know what your superpowers are all about. And this is like mind blowing. This has probably been, I'm going to get into next how this has changed my business, but having awareness of what my superpowers was like, oh, duh, I forgot about that. Or, oh my gosh, I haven't been trusting this own inner knowing of mine. One, social media is also part of what I help my clients get set up with. You want to show up just in one and go all in and really get comfortable in that one platform before you start throwing in another one in the mix. So you want to show up there. And I always say this, you want to choose one to begin with because you want to get really intimate with the nooks and crannies of it, how to really simultaneously show up in an authentic way, like you would at a dinner party, but it's on social media, but also like strategically how to make the best of the algorithms in terms of showing up in a way that you're going to get the reach that you deserve with your very precious limited time to work. So we consider that, but also we help this choose your one social media platform as well by looking at your defined energy center, meaning, and this is connected too with what your weekly content is. Are you going to be showing up on video with a YouTube channel or with a podcast? If you have a defined throat and G center, I'm telling all my clients with these, get a podcast, you will really shine. Same thing with your social media, very similar into how we decide what would work best with your natural energy setup. And then finally, your one email a week. Here I wrote, let your authority guide you. What do you feel lit up to share? And again, all about simplicity. I think my next challenge in the Facebook group is going to be how to repurpose with purpose, because it all like fits together. Your email a week is simply, hey, this is what's on the podcast this week, but also leaning on your gifts that are outlined in your gates and channels and your authority. How can you respond to what's going on in the zeitgeist of culture right now in your own world? Or what's that whisper saying that your ideal client needs to hear today? And just send out that email and shine how what your area of expertise melded with human design is all about. So what blew my mind when I learned about my human design, it's like, oh my gosh, again, I have a permission slip not to be logical, right? Much to Craig's chagrin. There is a method to my going with the gut madness. So having that permission slip, I got to follow the fun again, right? What happened? Again, I have been coaching moms for a decade now, 10 years. about that long ago. And you know how I do time is like, what house was I living in? When I was living in my hobby farm, when I started coaching, I had the hobby farm with my milk cow Daisy. I remember back in the day, I did my first big ticket investment with a coach. I worked with a coach. She charged $1,000 for 1 hour of her time. And I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? Okay, I am going to make the most of this coaching call. And I was just like, I'm just going to do whatever she tells me. And so I actually approached her and I told her all my ideas. I'm like, I want to start a podcast. I'm going to do this. I had all these ideas. And she's like, nope, 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 nope. And I trusted her authority. And I'm like, okay. And then what happened is that I did get traction, but I remember looking back going, I wish I would have started my podcast because I'm obviously still doing my podcast, but it was like, it really lights me up. So it's finding that middle road of seeking out your experts, but always remembering that you are the CEO of your business, and according to your energy type and your authority, it's really important that you do what is in alignment with your strategy. For me, it's following the fun. So I feel this gift here has been an opportunity to get reintroduced to Kathy before I started hiring coaches, taking all the e-courses, doing all the shoulds in my business. And now I'm really like re-examining everything, simplifying even more, and checking in that I am having fun with everything on my to-do list. And what also was really cool that I was shown that I had this really rare gate called artistic and creative. And that was a reminder for me to start back to my roots. I started coaching because my followers and my blog were like, how are you so prolific with all that you do with your hobby farming, your spinning yarn and selling clothes online and homeschooling and all those things? And it was like, I was replenishing my bucket. I told them with creative outlet that actually helps me stay inspired. So since discovering human design, I've been really prioritizing having that creative outlet back to a point where it used to be. I totally forgot about that part of me. So it's important that I have that both outside of my biz, but also within my business as well, exploring what that means. And luckily, I also have a Freaky Genius channel that my coach pointed out and was like, you better not come to me for advice because you got this freaky genius. So it's like trusting that I have this like access to downloads that are combined with my perspective on my opinions and how to reflect them back and interpret them. So anyways, I am just so excited to remember that I am a freaking genius. A gift from human design is I understand my kids and my husband better. So I shared already a little bit that my daughter's projector, my son is manifesting generator. It explains why he picks things up quick. There's other things in his chart that I'm like, oh my God, the kid literally has no fear. My daughter is just this amazing, well, I already knew that, but just kind of like honoring that her need to be alone is so important and explains a lot. But my husband, it's so weird, as much as we're, extreme opposites, our charts are very similar. So what that means in a romantic relationship, that we have more kind of like a buddy bond as opposed to this like passionate affair thing going on, which was so helpful to learn. Like the guy is still like, I look at him, I'm like, wow, you're hot, right? Still. But the same time, I'm like, as much as people are head scratching, like, how do you two end up together? You guys are so extreme different. We have this deep bond. We get each other on a very deep energetic level. We're very similar in very important ways that are kind of like, oh, okay, that is why. So it explains a lot. And then two, knowing where my clients are at, it makes more sense to me why I actually attract a lot of people just like me, as I shared, a lot of generators. But I notice what it is that they're seeking me out. How can I support them with my own energy gifts? I know my strengths. I learned that it's important for me to communicate my opinions. I've been really kind of like, oh no, it's all good. It's all good. But now I'm like, no, I'm going to start owning my stance more on things. So that has been like, it just feels really cool, especially in the season of my life, like entering my crone years. It's like, no, gosh darn it. I'm going to be one of those like old ladies that just like says unfiltered, whatever's on her mind, and have fun with it. But the most important gift of this has been learning to trust my gut more. And again, it gets easier and easier the more I practice. Okay. So again, working with me one-on-one, it's included. We do a deep dive in your human design chart read, but we don't put it away. I always have it open at my table when we work together. And I'm also offering in my human design training certification, we also got certified in past life regression. So this has been like, whoa. And this has been an opportunity to get like really, really deeply relaxed to a trance, that you have access to your unconscious in terms of accessing these repressed memories from past lives. So we can get those messages from past selves. And this has been so powerful for me, you guys, and finding out how that aligns in terms of our purpose to serve moms in this really powerful way. Because as you know, this entrepreneurial journey, it's not for the thin skinned. It's, it's going to bring up stuff over and over again. So again, when we come to our niche statement, we lean on our why, and it's like the past life regression is like a deeper, deeper why. And again, the human design, it really shines light too on what that purpose may be. All right, you guys, if you're watching the replay, you click the button, it'll take you to purchase a 90-minute reading, only $300. And if you're catching this masterclass, there's a there's a discount code, Masterclassy. I don't know why that makes me giggle. Masterclassy, right? Because you're the master at being classy, but you also joined and watched the masterclass. And as a thank you for that, if you type in Masterclassy, all one word, lowercase, it in the checkout, it takes off automatically $100 off. So $200 for 90-minute reading. So what that looks like is that you purchase, use Masterclassy before 6 o'clock on Saturday. So it's 48 hours essentially. Then once you purchase, I'll send you a link so you can choose a time. And then in that intake form, when you choose your time, there's a place to put your time of birth and location. So I can pull up your chart as well in preparation for our call. And then on that call, I'm going to do some homework. I'm going to go over your chart. I'm going to take note of all the puzzle pieces. We have an hour. I'm going to go through everything that came up. And then at the 60-minute mark, Q&A time. And you can ask me anything in relation to how this pertains to your mom coaching biz, to your life, what I came up with, how I translate the puzzle pieces in relation to your niche, how you market. I'm going to tell you, according to this is the best way for you to show up. It's going to blow your mind. It's going to blow your mind. So please do check that out. Masterclassy is the code. And if you do want to work one-on-one, again, book a discovery call and we can explore what that looks like. So here, I'm going to check out the chat. Oh, cool. Someone is a 4/6 sacral generator and an engineer too. You know what's wild? I also attract a lot of engineer clients. I attract generators and I attract a lot of engineer clients. That's so cool. And she's a 6'2". Awesome. And you know what? The 5'1" is I am a 5'1". My son is a 5'1". My daughter is a 5'1". It's just so like, what is that up with that? What are the chances? Very cool. All right. Everything has to also make sense to me. Exactly. All right, cool, everyone. Okay. So, again, make sure you use Masterclassy to take me up on the discount code. Other than that, if you want to dive really deep, working with me one-on-one, 6 months, me and you together. And when things are coming up in this entrepreneurial path, once we set you up with your 4x1 plan, we're clear on your human design, and we explored your past life messages, bring it all together using a little bit of, brain, a little bit of heart, a little bit of gut, a little bit of rock and roll. 6 months together, we implement the plan. And when the resistance or that signature, that not self theme comes up, we can check in. Okay, what's going on in your chart? And often just having that awareness, this is where this is coming from, will really push you through. And I'm there again, like your midwife, reminding you to breathe through it. We got this, and we'll see you soar. I'm all about getting my clients 5K to 10K months by selling one-on-one packages that are irresistible. We're going to come up with that too. Thanks for watching. I hope to connect with some of you. You have that discount code until Saturday night. Feeling all right. And thank you so much for joining me live today. Bye.